Okay, welcome everybody. This has been a totally hastily thrown together live stream. And so because of that, we're starting a half hour later than I told my guests we were going to start. It's all on me. But I did want to at least one of the guests is going to have to leave due to that. But I did want to introduce her. I'm going to have you introduce yourself. This is your first time on my channel. Just tell us a little bit about yourself and what you cover and whatever.
Hi. Well, first of all, I love your Blake wig.
Thank you.
So people say, don't F with justice, or DFJ is what my nickname. And I've been covering trials and true crime on my X page for a long time. Going back to since before Johnny Depp trial, that was the big one. And that's actually why I'm purple, that my color is purple. Do you remember during the Depp trial, like everyone was purple for Amber Heard? So to try not to get canceled, I tried to blend in when I was saying things. And I haven't changed it. I need to change it. And then and CJ recently, like we've been doing a lot of the coverage for Blake Lively together and Perez and Subpoena Gate, and she encouraged me to do a YouTube channel. So I'm up to like 400 subscribers and doing lives and content and teaming up with her. So it's been really cool.
Your Twitter is such a great resource for me because do you have a legal background? I know you have to go. Do you have a legal background, or you're just really good at interpreting the legal stuff?
No, I don't. I have some family that's like very in the legal field, so I've been exposed to it a lot. But no, I don't.
Well, you're great. Well, you're great, and that's the thing that I really first noticed you for. So anyway, you do have to leave now. That's right.
I have to leave in about like 15, 20 minutes.
Oh, well, that's much better. I thought when you said you had to bail, I was like, oh shit.
Oh, no, I didn't mean to rush you.
No, you're all right. The stake, as I always say, and hello to my audience, the stakes in these things could not be any lower. So I always tell myself that when I get nervous or whatever. I'm like, oh yeah, none of this matters. I mean, Baldoni and Lively matter, but this live stream, not so much. Okay, well then we can do things a little more leisurely. I'm going to pop on the screen actually a picture of Blake, and then I'll introduce you two formally, but of Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, because I found that it works for the algorithm to have a visual aid, so to speak, of pictures of who you're talking about. I don't know if it just draws more eyeballs or if it's something with the computer itself and what it picks up. I'm not sure. So I'm going to share the screen here with some pictures. What about this one? Look at how nice Justin Baldoni looks in that, and how I like this one because how scheming Ryan Reynolds looks in it. All right, so CJ, let's introduce you then. And I don't have links up for them. I will post links to both of these in just a minute on the feed, and then on the comment feed, and then I'll also do it below in the comments when we finish. Like I said, this was thrown together. I don't even have a description in this. But CJ, Citizen Justice, you go by. Tell me again your handle on Twitter.
I love you. Citizen Justice. It's the Marvel in you. Do you like Marvel? You always say Citizen Justice. It's Citizen Journalist.
Sorry. I always do that. And I even told myself I wasn't going to do it. Okay.
But I love it because I'm a big Marvel fan. That sounds like a Marvel superhero name. That could be my side character.
I know, but it's so annoying. I always mess it up. I'll have to go back and edit this when we finish and take that out. So it's okay. So we got Citizen Journalist. No, it's great. No, it's fine. Citizen Journalist, and you go, and your handle is, again, tell me.
C Journalist 24. I know I've had requests to change it, but then other people are like, don't change it, because some people will do CJ Journalist 24, but it's just C Journalist 24 on all platforms, except for Instagram. It's CJ C Journalist 24, because I don't know, for some reason C Journalist 24 was taken.
Yeah, sometimes you'd be surprised at the names that you think are unusual, that are combinations that are taken. So I guess, ladies, let's jump to the point then. Could both of you cover? I think primarily, I know you do other stuff, but you right now primarily Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively, and I do too, pretty much with some coverage of Marilyn Manson thrown in there, but. The latest filing, I haven't read it. It really caught my eye, though, just seeing everyone's coverage of it today online, because it's that dreaded 47.1 California Civil Code. We'll explain that for people who don't who don't know what it is in a minute, but it's that dreaded California Civil Code 47.1 that Blake Lively is trying to invoke. Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds are invoking to try to get a shitload of money, basically to try to get a shitload of money from Baldoni, Steve Sarowitz, Wayfarer. So I guess let's start. Can I call you Don't F with Justice? What do you want me to call you?
Oh yeah, that's fine. Either Don't F with Justice or DFJ.
I like that. I actually don't mind cursing at all, and I'll curse sometimes. I'm just not sure if the algorithm is going to knock me if I just keep saying the F word over and over. But Don't F with Justice. Can you explain, as if I were an idiot, because I am often on legal matters. I've researched. I wrote that little amicus thing for it. But
Yeah.
can you explain though, like I'm stupid, what is 47.1, and then what is Blake Lively trying to do here in this filing?
So, okay, 47.1, in my opinion, is basically to try to protect like survivors who make SH or SA claims from facing retaliatory lawsuits like defamation, to try to shut them down. And so whether or not the SH or SA is confirmed, like whether or not it's substantiated, it punishes the person being accused because they can't file like a counterclaim, or they can't fight back. Basically, anything they do to everything in the CRD, in the complaint, and actually it doesn't even have to be in a CRD. It could even be like in an email to HR, any sort of documented complaint. That's considered like protected, and it makes them like it's very protected. It's like the SLAPP law, anti-SLAPP kind of, but like on steroids.
Right. So basically, to stop you for a minute here and tell people the point of what she's saying is that it doesn't, in a way, it's frustrating, but in a way, it doesn't matter whether what Blake Lively claimed was true or false, right?
Yeah, and that's the worst part of it, is like it doesn't even, and that's even the amicus brief writers. I think Elise was one of them who said it doesn't matter if it protects people who make false claims as long as it protects people who make real claims. And that's a huge problem for me.
Right. And that just goes along with, before we continue, let's just say, and this is something we've all addressed, I think, a lot, that just goes along with this general assumption right now, it seems like in the legal system, that very few women file false Me Too type claims. And so there seems to be just this real lack of concern with innocent men who might, and I know it's not always men, but innocent men who might get caught up in a net of fictitious claims. It seems to be the assumption that almost never happens. And that's what these kinds of laws and codes and statutes are based on, right?
Yeah, and if you think about it, like they're not keeping stats on how many of these claims are false. That's not like you'll keep stats of different types of claims and whatnot, but like no one's tracking the false claims. So
Right.
We don't actually know. When they say it's rare, I don't actually know that it's rare, because I feel like I can now easily spot patterns of how many times I've seen it. And
Yeah.
it's like, I was even Trevor Bauer in California, like right away I saw that. And it seems they like have a script, a lot of these people, of what they do, and they go to the press, and when they go to the press, it's all protected, even if it's not true, because of the California 47.1.
Right. And so continue then and tell me, like, what is her team claiming in this, and what can the judge do? What are his options? And if he rules against Baldoni and for Blake on this, what does it mean for Baldoni and Sarowitz and Wayfarer?
Oh, okay, wait. So that's like
that's a lot of questions. Why don't you just basically tell me why this is important?
So this is important because Lively is trying to use this to basically get treble damages, or like to get a lot of money, I would say, like from the Wayfarer parties. And so
aren't we talking a lot of money too? Like, couldn't it potentially be like in the tens of millions, or even close to 100, right?
It's disgusting, like how much it could be. And it's simply for him filing the counterclaim. So but here's the catch though, is that this is in a New York federal court. And so to use this California law, and it hasn't been used before. So for her to want to be one of the first people to use it, and she has all the amicus brief, I call them banshees, the brief banshees, because it sounds like they're screaming in these briefs. Like to have them like try to use her case as like the poster child for this law in California.
We're here.
in
Go
okay,
ahead.
in the New York federal court is very like it's disturbing. This should only be used in like a California court. And so I don't know if it will hold up. She's had a lot of issues with jurisdiction in this whole lawsuit, like with Judd Wallace trying to claim New York jurisdiction. The movie was filmed in New Jersey. I don't know why they chose New York federal law. And even CJ, when she was at the Perez hearing for the subpoena in Nevada, even the Nevada federal judge is like, why is this case in New York? Even he was like,
Really?
what is happening here?
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
By the way, everybody, I'm putting up her Twitter link, and then this will have links to where else are you on social media?
YouTube.
Oh, you have oh, that's right. You have a YouTube channel, and I'm sorry, I have not listened to you yet. I've listened to I've listened to some of CJ's, obviously, but I just don't actually myself watch a lot of YouTube, but I'll need to check it out. But everybody, here's the link. I'm highlighting it right now for her. So,
and I already got one removed for the one I did on Van Zandt, the Van Chan.
really? No,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah. And it was one of my better ones, I thought, but I have
What
one
was
more.
their reasoning? What did they say?
Because all I did was show the Van Zandt public filings, like their registration, and it said that it was like I revealed personal information, but then it also said like something about bullying. So I got two different reasons, and yeah, it was taken down.
Oh my God. It's just, that's a whole other, I know, topic, but all the censorship that's existed around this and other Me Too topics through the years. Okay. So, and by the way, CJ, I'm not coming to you just because she's got to leave in a little while. I know you understand. So again, like basically, if I'm understanding this right, there's a good chance that the judge may not want to rule or invoke this or rule on this because first of all, it's California law. Secondly, it would be basically setting precedent, right?
Yes. Yes. And it's the New York federal court typically does not use other state laws. Like they stick to the New York law. Like of all the federal courts, they're very like strict kind of about that. And so even though, in my opinion, I feel like this judge has been bent over for Lively for pretty much anything else she's ever asked for, I don't think, even this judge, I don't think is going to, I don't think he's going to really entertain this. He's already shut it down once and said that if they want to bring it back, he shut it down when he dismissed the counterclaim, the countersuit. He said if Lively decides to use 47.1 to argue damages, they're going to have to write like a brief supporting why it's so like it should be applied here and set precedent here.
Mm-hmm. So you think it's a pretty steep hill for Lively to get this? Are you feeling, I know who wants to claim anything right now or predict anything. It's such a crazy case all the way around. But do you feel like the likelihood is that he's not going to slam Baldoni and Wayfarer with a big judgment here?
I don't think he'll do it for the 47.1. And there's a bunch of other motions for sanctions on the docket against Wayfarer filed by Lively for like Rule 11 and just for everything. And he hasn't even like addressed any of those. So at least not yet. So I don't think he's going to I don't think he's going to bring.
That's good. I mean, that's good because I know that a number of us are just enraged at the idea that after everything that Lively and Ryan Reynolds have done to this man and his family and these people, that then she would be able to get, well, I mean, this amount of money would bankrupt Baldoni. I'm assuming it would come from Steve Sarowitz, but look, I don't care how rich you are. When you start to get into the tens or even hundreds of millions, that's going to hurt. Yeah. And so it would be beyond disgusting for this thing to end with that kind of an outcome. So I'm glad that you're thinking it's not likely. Again, who knows? And maybe this judge wants to set precedent. Some of these judges are so crazy and they have such an inflated view of themselves. And some of them want to set precedent, but I hope that's not the case with this one.
And the thing is, this 47.1, it is being shopped around in at least like 16 other states. And the person, Victoria, whatever her name is, who's like the leader of this that's selling it, she's using this case on the materials to campaign for it in these other legislatures and to put out whatever things for people to vote on.
Right.
They're called bills
Right.
and whatnot. And as if this case is like, but this case hasn't even been settled yet. So it's like, if you're using this, that just shows you like the insincerity around this law. And I think in New York, they're trying to call it like the speak your truth law or something.
No, they're like Orwellian terms. That's what it is. Absolutely.
It is. And it's just like, it's speak your truth. Like, unless you're falsely accused, then it's shut the F up, because
Yep.
otherwise, like, it's retaliatory. And then you're going to be just hit with all these fines.
Yep. Yep. No, it's very true. So I know you have to leave in a few minutes. Tell me, is there anything any note you want to leave us with?
Oh my gosh. I'm so glad you're back. I love your coverage.
Oh, thank
Like,
you.
I think you see things for like what they are. And also, I've always loved your coverage on Manson. I think you're right on the money with that. And so I think your voice is important. So just keep doing you.
Oh, well, thank you. And ditto to you. I had not discovered you until this case, like I said, but you're one of the top 3 or 4 people that I go to now when something like this happens, right? And I went to your page and wanted to see what you had to say. So everybody, again, check out Don't F with Justice. I'll say it once, don't fuck with justice. There we go. And I'm going to include the link one more time. Again, this was thrown together last minute, so sorry I don't have links up or anything. But here's the link to her Twitter, and then from there you can find her on YouTube. All right. Well, I know you got to go. I hope it goes well where you're going, and we will see you next time.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. All right. Bye-bye. Okay, so CJ.
The one, the only DFJ.
What is up? We can reintroduce you here. You've been doing the Baldoni thing from the beginning, the Baldoni Lively thing from the beginning, right? Did you jump in about when Baldoni filed his suit, or were you before that?
Before that, I don't know when I started like actually posting about it or when I was just lurking, but it was Ari Jacobs. You know Ari, she had a post and she was like, well, the New York Times hasn't always been very truthful. And that was my red pill into the case, was me sleuthing her case and then trying to be like, okay, wait, maybe the New York Times isn't telling the whole truth. But then once he dropped, I think when I got really, really into it, where I was doing timelines and stuff and all that, was right before he dropped his timeline. That Exhibit A website. So it was right after their lawsuit, but before the timeline. I was like sleuthing the lawsuit to make up my own timeline. And then I think I released mine like 3 or 4 days before they had the official one. And it wasn't that far off. I had a couple of dates wrong, but yeah, it was just crazy because that's when I got really into it. Once Exhibit A came out and there was so much sleuthing to do.
Yeah, and you post a lot. I know you take little breaks and stuff where you might go away for a few days or whatever, but you post a lot, and I'm impressed with your stamina because I can't post that much. And so you everybody, if you're interested in this case, or even if you're not, she covers other topics too. You want to check out. I'm going to say it right now, Citizen Journalist. You'll always be Citizen Justice to me, though. Let me get the link.
Make merch now that says Citizen Justice because it sounds so cool.
Just change your name, dude. There's still time. You haven't blown up yet. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, still be Citizen Justice with a little Marvel cape. But so I wanted to say real quick about the 47.1.
Yeah, I was going to say, tell me about it.
Part of my thing is like, I'm like the voice of the citizen. So I keep my ear out for like what citizens are saying and things like that. So the TikTok lawyer community, once it dropped, they were very much like, this is a nothing burger. And, we don't think a judge, like basically what y'all were saying, that we don't think a judge would grant this and set precedents over this. But another little nugget that someone had mentioned was about the money, how she would have to prove the damages either way if she's asking
that amount,
and how hard it would be because she's now only doing garden variety emotional or whatever. And so one or two of the lawyers on TikTok were basically saying like it wouldn't be that much money because she would have to prove, and she already didn't want to hand over evidence to prove it. So I thought that was a cool little nugget that some lawyers thought about, that it might not be that much money because she's got to prove it and she might not have the documentation.
Yeah, exactly. Might not have the documentation. She claims, that she was having a mental, emotional breakdown. And meanwhile, you see her, out having fun at different events and everything. Yeah, no, that's true. And that's a good point. There's a part of me that when I see or hear about filings like these from Blake Lively and Ryan, it just gets my blood boiling. And then it's good to go on Twitter and see people saying, okay, calm down. First of all, I don't think that he's going to the judge is going to rule on this. And secondly, like you're saying, she has to prove the amount of damages that she's claiming and stuff. I think that there is a part of me, I know you understand this, there's a part of me that is still licking my wounds, so to speak, and pissed off about the fact that Baldoni's lawsuit got dismissed. It felt so fast and so early. I don't know what the typical timeline is in these types of situations. Maybe this is just how it goes. I mean, the whole point, everybody, the whole point of the anti-SLAPP statutes, which, by the way, it was the anti-SLAPP statute that enabled this judge to dismiss Baldoni's lawsuit against Blake Lively and to kick it before it even got really adjudicated, right? And certainly before it went to a jury. That is, for people need to understand, that is the whole point of legislation like anti-SLAPP stuff and 47.1. They want these defamation lawsuits to get kicked as fast as possible. And we saw the same thing with the Marilyn Manson situation, that he had this, I thought, jaw-dropping in a number of ways lawsuit against Evan Rachel Wood and her conspirator, Ilma Gore, and some of the things that he alleged in there, and he had some actual like documentation and proof, and some of the things, like the faked FBI letter that she turned into the family court when she kidnapped her kid and all that stuff. Some of this stuff was jaw-dropping, and the judge, didn't even go, not only didn't go before a jury, but it really barely saw the light of day, because the judge kicked it and said, invoking the SLAPP ruling. And so the anti-SLAPP statute. So this is one of the really frustrating things about the legislation that has come about and that's taking root all over the country. I mean, even here in Texas now, we've got anti-SLAPP statutes.
Mhm.
It's taking root is that there are all of these laws and statutes that are very hostile to men victims of defamation like Baldoni and Johnny Depp and Marilyn Manson.
Yeah, and I think that it should just always play out in court. I mean, I get it that it's like, they talk about re-victimization and all that stuff. Valid, right? But it's like, if it's going to be hurtful to people, like what DFJ was saying, that Elise said, that it doesn't matter if it's hurtful to some people as long as it protects the people that it needs to protect. But it's like,
That's what they think.
it shouldn't be that way. I feel like that's the whole reason why we have a justice system. Like, let it play out with the jury of your peers and see how it goes,
Right. And something that I wanted to say earlier when Don't F with Justice was talking about this, but I didn't want to interrupt her because she didn't have much time on with us, is that this assumption that has not only taken root in the justice system and the courts, but has in the civil courts, but has taken root all over society, that women rarely lie about sexual assaults and all this stuff, right? And all of these other Me Too type things, harassment. It's not backed up by the evidence, by the studies that have been done. Yes, you can find some studies at one end of the spectrum that show 2% of claims are false, but that is just one small set of studies. There are many studies in various forms using various methodologies that have been done over decades to ascertain the percentage of false allegations of this nature. And some of them go as high as 50, 60, 70, 80. Did you know that there was one that's 90%? I'm not saying I buy that necessarily, right? But there was one study that showed that 90% of claims of this nature might be false. And I've said before, if you were to ask me, what do I personally think? I think that in the real world, I think probably 30, 40, maybe 50% of claims are false. But I definitely know that in the world of celebrity, when money and celebrity get into the mix and big egos, I would bump that number up to 80%, I would say. I think 80, maybe even 90% of Me Too type claims against celebrities, especially post Me Too, I think are false. So the justice system needs to catch up. The civil courts need to catch up to this reality, and they are so far from it. They're running in the other direction. Sorry.
Yeah, and I just wish that, like, if these things happen, and I get it, that there's like, time that some people don't like to report it because of certain reasons, or they feel like their careers or whatever. But this whole, like, 10 years later, we got Russell Brand's accusations and stuff, which I don't know. I haven't dug deep into those.
Aren't they even later, like 15, 20 years? I don't know. But anyway, yeah.
You know, like when these people have families and stuff like that. And I haven't dug into that case, so I'm neutral on it. But
I
just
have. I think it's sketch. But anyway, go on.
there's there's like a lot of things where I'll be like, well, why, you know, why they wait so long? And it muddies the waters because the evidence is mostly gone. And so I just wish that if there were claims of that nature, that people could come forward sooner. So then, you know, you could just go based on the evidence and the merits and like the whole trial, like
Yeah.
everything that has to happen, like the whole legal system, just let it go through. But I understand that sometimes, you know, that's how it works too. We have those motions for summary judgment that a lot of people think, you know, Blake's case is going to pummel with that. So there are ways that, you know, these cases can just get shut down before trial, like if it
Yeah.
doesn't have merits and all this stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's been interesting to get, like deep dive into the legal system, and me just being nosy. I just wish all the cases went to trial because
I know.
I want to see all the evidence, all the docs, everything.
Look, that's why the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial, I continue to think that we live in a simulation and that we got lucky enough to be in the simulation where that trial actually happened. I used to joke about this, that during the trial, I cannot believe that we are actually seeing this, that we're privy to this, that they took it this far. We've actually got Johnny Depp and Amber Heard in the ring, so to speak, publicly talking about all this crazy stuff, right? So it is very
Addressing
rare.
the evidence and all that. Remember that Brian fella? He had all the calls and everything.
Yep.
Umbrella guy.
It was great.
It was a lot to like for sleuths like me who like to like sleuth through stuff. It was a lot to go through.
Yeah, no, it was. And unfortunately we don't get that enough. You know, I was hoping, and look, aside from the entertainment value, it's the also the factor of justice here, that and we said this before, that the courts are basically the only forum still that have some credibility in the public mind, where a guy like Johnny Depp or Baldoni or Brian Warner can come out and can say, look, this is serious. These are serious claims I'm making. I have a serious case here. Look at what they did to me. Look at what she did to me. Here's my evidence. And so it's sad when you see laws sweeping the nation we're talking about anti-SLAPP or the 47.1 statutes, that's spreading too. It's sad when you see these kinds of laws sweeping the nation that are basically trying to eliminate the only remaining forum that people have to make these kinds of defamation claims.
Exactly. And my Roman Empire will always be how Evan is still walking around after making that fake FBI letter. I'm like, but he impersonated a federal official.
She submitted it to a court.
No fine, nothing, like something.
Well, I'm not going to take us down that road, but but I just want to say to the audience, what I just continue to not understand is how a woman can be in a family court dispute where, by the way, she kidnapped her kid and was withholding him from the father, Jamie Bell, but where she can be in a family court dispute and she types up a fake FBI letter, signs a real agent's name to it. It was a real agent that they knew, actually, that she happened to know, but signs a real agent's name. So when she impersonates an FBI agent, submits that to the family court as fake evidence, and it's proven to be fake. There was no doubt among anyone that this was a faked letter. The only doubt was that Evan claims that someone just put it in her mailbox, and so she thought that it was legit, which doesn't even make sense. But,
yeah, but later
whatever.
They found that it was on the girl's computer. Her
They
ex-girlfriend.
did. No, they did. They found, yes,
like forensic evidence.
But the judge, you know, didn't accept that, right? In the LA courts. Here's the point: the idea that, like you said, a woman can do this and just be walking around and there's no consequences. Not even like, she didn't even have to like go in and like talk to somebody. Isn't it crazy? Crazy.
Always be my Roman Empire. That one's gonna live in my head rent free for
oh my God, y'all. I want to say, before we get back onto this topic, I want to say something. If in my audience, you're in my audience and you don't know about this family court dispute, forget the Manson thing. If you don't know about the family court dispute between Evan Rachel Wood and Jamie Bell, I went through those documents in one of my videos, and after we get out of here, I get off here, I'll post it in the comments and put it in the description. But I went through those documents and I read the documents, the best parts, on a video one time, and some of it is just jaw-dropping and horrifying, but just jaw-dropping. Anyway, I don't know. Okay, so
a good deep dive, because I remember that's how I like went really deep into your channel, was when you started covering the FBI letters.
Oh man, yes, it's definitely the most interesting part. Okay, so Blake Lively and Baldoni, Can we talk about what you did? I know you said that the stream messed up, but you did a stream earlier today where you talked about this idea of a mystery witness against Baldoni. Can you
Mhm.
I don't really know anything about this. Can you recap for this what this is?
Yeah. Okay. So as part of the filings yesterday with this motion for sanctions, there was two declarations. One by Ezra Hudson, who basically attached an exhibit that was under
I'm
seal.
sorry, that's Lively's attorney,
That's
right?
Lively's
Yeah.
attorney. Yeah. And she just did a declaration to attach this exhibit that was sealed. That was basically like a signal chat from the company that made that Exhibit A website, the timeline info, when
Okay.
Baldoni made his website. So the company who made that website apparently has some signal messages in there that are sealed. So we don't know what that says. So that was a little Easter egg. And then the other declaration was from this redacted person that claims that Baldoni was like harassing, well, not
Yeah,
harassing.
that's the one. Yeah. Sorry, go
Yeah,
ahead.
he says something like verbally abusive to him or to her, whoever it is, to them.
Okay. Okay.
Um and so it's got a lot of like little Easter eggs. So my show this morning, I did have audio issues on it like midway. I think it was only for like about 10 minutes, but I did like a tier chart with everyone's guesses on who this redacted person is because there's a bunch of little clues in there. Like
Sorry.
it was someone who worked with Wayfair. Those were the exact words. They worked with Wayfair on an unrelated project too. And so
You're
according
saying the person accusing Baldoni is someone who worked with Wayfarer? Is that
Yeah, it says
okay.
this person worked with Wayfair on an unrelated project that Baldoni was asked not to attend the set for this project or be a part of promotional or marketing for this project. This separate project, I'm assuming.
And
So
was this project before or after It Ends With Us, or do we know?
it seems like it was after because they're saying that this person talked to Steve Sarowitz as well, August 2024. So there's
Okay.
two parts of the declaration. One is he's saying that Baldoni was verbally abusive to him. And then the second part is that Sarowitz called a meeting with him at some point, that Sarowitz's assistant
Wait,
contacted him
with him, are you saying it's a
with, with them. I don't know if it's a guy or a girl.
oh, okay, yeah,
Sorry.
so
So with
this
them.
mystery witness that Blake is invoking here
Mhm,
is claiming that on a Wayfarer project, Baldoni acted inappropriately or was barred from the set?
mhm.
And then go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so that he was abusive to him or to them, sorry.
That's fine.
Baldoni was abusive to them, and so they were asked to, have Baldoni banned from the set, as well as not be a part of promotional and marketing. And then the second half is that the same person was asked by Steve Sarowitz's assistant to meet with Steve Sarowitz, and this is where Steve Sarowitz said, "There'll be dead bodies," and all that stuff. And then with that exhibit, one of the Easter eggs is that it's timestamps where it says, it's redacted, but then it says exhibit 1 and then it's got time, it's at timestamp 316. It's got several timestamps that are about 30 to 40 seconds long.
Mhm.
Um, and so it's either a recording of Steve Sarowitz saying this stuff or it's a transcript or deposition of someone saying that he said this stuff.
And to me, this whole I'm not saying this is legit or I mean this evidence is real or it's not real or whatever, but to me, this is also one of the things about Blake's claims that are just so laughable. Like all of the fuss that she makes over Steve Sarowitz boasting that, I'm going to spend 100 if I have to spend 100 million to fight her lies, I will, or I'm going to go like on hard on her like Israel's going on Gaza or something.
Yeah, yeah. He says
Like,
something
come
like
on, grow up, people.
I have to compare it again to the first amended complaint, but I'm pretty sure that the first amended complaint, it ended at like 2 bodies, and then this one's like, well, not like dead, like people dead, like I mean like dead as in. So he like clarifies,
Right.
but then it's weird because in her deposition that she just did with Jed Wallace and Wayfair, where they were asking her questions, they asked her like, "Did you think that your life was in danger?" And then she was like, "When he said the dead bodies part, yeah, I thought he meant literally, not just
Oh,
reputation."
for God's sake.
But if you read it, he literally says,
He
he clarified
clarified it.
dead bodies. I mean, like,
So,
whatever.
what you're telling me is that Blake Lively has contradicted her own prior
Yep.
testimony. Shocking. Absolutely. I'm
Shocking.
shocked. You know, that's the other thing that's such a dead giveaway about her lack of truthfulness is that the changes that you see from complaint to complaint. The lawsuit that she filed, you know this, our viewers know this, the lawsuit that Blake Lively ended up filing is different in a number of ways and different from and contradicts the original CRD complaint. And as particularly around certain things that ended up being disproven by later forthcoming evidence. But these changes that you see and these contradictions, these are tip offs that you're dealing with someone who is not being truthful. Um, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so basically we kind of like sleuthed out some potential. I took a bunch of stuff from citizens around X, and we did a TikTok stream yesterday with a bunch of TikTokers, Elsrich, which I know you know, this other girl, Bocce Gohawks, I follow. It's about 9 of us, and so we were just in real time sleuthing. And we came up with some names. I know a lot of people are saying it's Blake, but the thing with Blake, some people are saying, oh, it's just redacted and it's just Blake, but it doesn't fit Blake because it says they worked with Wayfair on an unrelated project. Some people think it's the press junkets, but I'm like, would they really refer to press junkets as unrelated projects? Because of the fact that, you know, Ryan Reynolds and Maximum Effort were in charge of the marketing and promotion, and the fact that, you know, he wasn't at the premiere and stuff. But I'm like, it literally says on set that they asked him not to be on set. So we sleuthed some of like the movies that were upcoming that could have been a different project. Eleanor the Great was one, and then this other one called Empire Waste. That it could have been maybe somebody working on those projects. So I ended up with it could have been someone from Sony too, because he was working on Sony projects at the same time he was working on It Ends With Us.
Okay.
I ended up on S tier, which was my guess was Liz Plank, because I thought the unrelated project could be man enough. Some people don't think it is because they're like, she doesn't have enough power to say, you know, he can't be on his own podcast. But I'm like, if you sleuth it out, she stopped recording with him in June. Some people say June, some people say August, but she was at the premiere in August and was not pictured with Baldoni. She only posted pictures with her and Blake. And you know, I had to sleuth out if Baldoni was promoting the Man Enough podcast at the time, because if he wasn't, then it would match up if he wasn't promoting. Or
While you mention her, I know you have some other suspects here to get to, but this is one in this whole situation, this Liz Plank girl that has just also annoyed the hell out of me. I think her behavior has been despicable. She has done this podcast. She did this podcast with Baldoni and with Heath and with Baldoni's family, the wife. His wife went on the podcast.
yep,
Heath,
in April.
Heath's wife went on the podcast. This woman knows. You fucking know, Liz Plank, that Baldoni is not a sexual predator or sexual harasser. You are the scummiest person, in my estimation, in this whole situation. Perhaps Blake Lively notwithstanding. I don't know. The scummiest person. You worked with this guy. You worked with these people. You worked with their families. You worked with this entire organization. You know what they are about. And so you have just chosen, consciously or unconsciously, I don't know, but you have chosen to disavow reality, and all for the sake of, as it turns out, didn't she get some career benefits from Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively?
I mean, you don't got a ticker, girl, but I'm gonna need you to be like, allegedly, in my opinion only. Allegedly, you know, she got this new podcast. Is it Boy Problems? With someone who's Reynolds adjacent. And I know, like, everyone's like, it's 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon in Hollywood anyway, everyone's adjacent, but there's some sleuthing that some sleuths had gone down that rabbit hole and connected it all with the
Well, let's
person
say
who's
she
running
got
the podcast and all that stuff, and the perks that came out of that. And she was already friends with them. Somebody sleuthed it all the way back to when she was friends with him first, and then a couple months later she ends up being friends with Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively. Somehow they start retweeting her and stuff. And so a lot of people think that she switched gears because Ryan and Blake obviously have more followers, things like that.
Yeah, way more powerful.
Um,
Well,
and
let's
she
say
was supposedly the person who kind of connected Blake with the project, because some people say Alex Sachs at Sony did it, But there's also a little Easter egg in Colleen Hoover's Instagram where there's a comment that says like, "Oh, I love the both of you," or something. Liz Plank says, "I love the both of you," and Blake Lively's like, "Well, you made it happen."
Oh God. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Well, look, I don't know what she's getting from it or what she thinks she's going to get from it. Let's say that she's getting nothing from it. And to me, that actually makes her even worse because that means that you turned on this dude, on this entire group of good people. You turned on them for nothing other than the approval of social media and some temporary notoriety. So I don't know, whatever it is, if she got career benefits or was promised career benefits by them or she didn't, she did a despicable thing. She is the scummiest, I think, of any of the people in this sad, sordid story. Jesus. Anyway,
I made an edit because on TikTok about it because they were like really good friends. Like they were making TikToks together, all laughing, eating lunch together. Like they were close, good friends. And like I feel like her and Colleen are like the biggest villains on it because they held him so close. Gained his trust. Like it must have felt so bad when they backstabbed him like that.
I'm sure that Baldoni has taken on a much more jaded view of the world after this. One of the things that I have criticized a bit about some of what I see in his podcast is just that sometimes he comes across to me as kind of naive, and no offense to him or anything, and who am I to say, but just I think that I love what I've seen of his podcast for the most part, but I do think sometimes a little naive about things. I bet he's not naive anymore. He has been taught, Baldoni, unfortunately, has been taught a very painful lesson in the duplicitous nature of and the shady nature of human beings and of women. And I bet the words "believe women" will never come out of his mouth again.
That's the irony of the whole thing.
Yep.
And, you know, they even used it in the filings to try and like.
I know. That, look, if I had to sum up the entire Blake Lively Baldoni situation in one sentence, it would be this: no good deed goes unpunished. That is that is my overall moral lesson from this whole fiasco. Tell me who the other contenders are.
The other contenders were, you know, someone from Sony, Alex Sachs from Sony, because we know that her and Blake communicated a bunch, and you know, maybe because there's a point where it says like a Sony producer was like sharing stories like, "Oh, me too, girl," type of thing. So I thought maybe it could be her from Sony, specifically Tony, who was the CEO of Tony Viscero of Sony.
Just gonna put up
I thought could be someone as well, and then we had other funny ones in there.
The main ones, though, I was seeing though people talking about possibly Jenny Slate, or is that erroneous?
Yeah, Jenny Slate or Isabella. I didn't think it could be them because he's saying we're working on an unrelated project with Wayfair, and neither of them worked on anything else other than It Ends With Us that we know of.
Oh, okay.
So that's the Easter egg there. So some of it connects with some parts of it, but if you didn't see that footnote, because a lot of people didn't read that footnote at the bottom that says another project and then the part about a set, because that's why some people say no to Liz Plank, because they're like, a podcast studio is not a set. It specifically says on set, but I'm like, it looks like a set, right? Like it's like a table.
I can see you using the word set on that. So I also want to say though, since we brought up Jenny Slate, her complaint was just the one about Heath, right? That she was insulted that he said that he believed in the sanctity of motherhood, right?
That was the one that's, you know, and it hasn't really technically been attributed to her, but you know, the sleuths have sleuthed it out.
Right.
But yeah, that's the only one. And then the other, like I said, the only other person, the name was redacted, but it's either Alex Sachs or Angie Janetti, somebody from Sony, I think, that she was talking to, because it does say a Sony rep, where they were kind of like, "Oh yeah, this happened to me. Oh yeah, well, this happened to me too," kind of like talking crap together.
Okay, so getting then to the worst allegation in this filing, are there more specifics about what it's alleging about Baldoni? The allegation is that he was behaving inappropriately on a different set and he had to be barred from the set. Is that what's alleged?
Yeah, just verbally abusive is what it says. It says that
abusive?
Verbally abusive. Yeah,
I know. Abusive though, Baldoni? Like verbally abusive? It just seems so out
it's funny because that's what was leaked to the Daily Mail in the very beginning of that one article, the one that we see text messages from you know, them contacting Leslie, and it might have been allegedly Leslie who leaked that information, but it says that he was like chauvinistic and like verbally abusive to the crew and everyone. And so it's weird that it's almost like the same language almost. But so basically it says that on August 6th, or no, on August 2024, that Mr. Sarowitz confessed to this person. And then it says another witness, comma, an individual who was working with Wayfair on an unrelated project. So a person who was working with Wayfair on an unrelated project. So right there, that's not Blake. That's not Ryan.
Okay, just to get clear though in my head. So this person on this other project, this person claimed that Baldoni had behaved, had been verbally abusive and had been barred from set, and then Steve Sarowitz confessed that. What was Steve Sarowitz confessing?
And then he met with Steve Sarowitz somehow. Somehow the assistant of Steve Sarowitz requested a meeting. It's all redacted, so we don't know.
Oh, okay. I got you. That's right. So the claim is that this person who claimed supposedly that Justin Baldoni was verbally abusive then got a meeting with, there was a meeting set up with Steve Sarowitz for him to air his, for he or she to air their complaints, right?
Well, it doesn't say that that's what it was for. It says, I was requested by Steve Sarowitz's assistant to have a meeting. The theme of the meeting was not told to me. And then the rest of it is redacted. So I don't know if it was a meeting that Sarowitz requested. I mean, it sounds like it, like he was like, I summon you to talk to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's why I was like, Liz Plank might work because she was in that circle, the Heath Wayfair circle, because she was in the podcast. So that would be someone that he might feel
it probably is her,
like trusting to tell it to. Because that's the other thing that didn't fit is like, who would Steve Sarowitz trust to say this to? People were like, oh, it's Blake or Ryan, but would he say that to Blake or Ryan's face?
It sounds like Liz Plank, again, we're just alleging, right? But it sounds like Liz Plank is a good candidate for it. And again, even if she didn't do this particular thing, the way that she's conducted herself has just been atrocious. And she did a lot of podcasts with the Wayfarer people, for Wayfarer, right?
That's the one when I was trying to see, like, when's the last time she did an episode with Baldoni, which I'm still sleuthing out. But the last episode that she did with any like Baldoni adjacent was in April with Heath's wife and Emily Baldoni, Justin's wife. And I'm like, dang, you podcasted with their wives and everything. And by this time, it's April of 2024. Yeah, April of 2024. So I'm like, I wonder if she knew then or if she didn't know anything by then. But if she was the one texting, if she was the mutual friend that Blake Lively was texting, that's the thing. But really quick, the footnote says, this person also had concerns with Mr. Baldoni. So aside from the Steve Sarowitz meeting, it says, this person also had concerns with Mr. Baldoni, who they found to be verbally abusive, which resulted in him not being allowed on the set of the other project or involved in its marketing or publicity. So one of the theories was that it was this Empire Waste movie. I'm not sure if it was still recording or like, if there was still like final shots being taken, but I know that it started to be promoted September of 2024. And he was not part of the marketing or promotion. So that one fit the marketing promotion part, but not necessarily the set part. But he would be tagged and stuff before. And the lady, the director of this movie, she stopped posting after August, and didn't tag Baldoni or anything, which is weird. And she follows, or the company that made the movie follows Steve Sarowitz and Wayfair, but not Justin Baldoni. So that one was a candidate as far as like which movie or other project it could be. But if it's not Liz Plank, I'm thinking maybe somebody from Eleanor the Great, because I know that was filmed after It Ends With Us. And he hasn't been part of the promotion. Only Jamie Heath and Sarowitz have.
Who knows? Who it could be, in the sense that I'm sure Blake and Ryan, and with their power and influence, they have been scraping, as they say, scraping the bottom of the barrel, so to speak, or beating the bushes, trying to find people that they can line up to back this vision of Baldoni, which is it's laughable though, after seeing what we have seen of actual evidence, like seeing him hearing him interacting with Blake and these messages, these obsequious messages that he leaves for her, and the way that he just rolled over to her demands about the production and the editing and it's laughable that anyone would think of him as verbally abusive. But anyway, we got to go because this was just something I wanted to do last minute because I was interested in it. But I know you and I both have things to do. So this is going to be a short stream. But I wanted to tell people again to check out your page. I mean, well, you're on YouTube too. Check out your YouTube. Check out your TikTok, your Twitter. Yeah. I'm just going to give the link here for the Twitter, but they can find you through this on.
I do a morning show on like legal cases Monday through Thursday at 9 a.m. Eastern. This week I have stuff to do, so I'm not doing any more shows this week. But Monday morning I will be there. Be there. Be square. 9 a.m. Eastern. It's called Objection. It's all legal celebrity.
It's interesting. Yeah, lots of different cases. It's not just Lively and Baldoni. And I want to thank my mods. I think I have almost all my mods here today because it's at a decent time. It's not at 3 a.m, right? But I got AJ.
I love the late nights.
I got AJ, Laura B, and Vanessa. And then I don't know if Rebel Bird is here, but also appreciation to them. Do you share any of these mods? Do you have these mods?
No, but they do a great job on your feed, and they're always like super supportive and keep the chat going. So
they are
I'm familiar with them because I've interacted with them in the chat, so they're really cool.
Very much.
So. My mod is here, Laura. Shout out to my mod, Laura Trainer.
Oh, there she is. I see. Here we go.
The mods are really important. Today, my mods were trying to tell me your sound is off, and when I'm reading the stream.
Yeah,
it wasn't quite. I don't go back to see the chat, but they were calling me, private chatting.
Oh yeah, I've had that happen before, where I don't know something's going on, and finally have to text me. It happens.
And there's Christina E, my other mod too. So shout out to her. She just
where is she? Oh, there. Okay, cool. Yeah. So y'all, if you're just now coming on, it's a short one, but rewind it and check out. Also, Don't F with Justice was here, and we explained the whole 47.1 thing and all that. Other thing I wanted to say, I mentioned this in a live stream I did the other night, is that I think one of the saddest, most pathetic aspects of this whole charade is that feminists have been saying forever that they want men to open up and to share their thoughts and their feelings, and to let's get real about issues like sexual assault and porn and stuff like that. And I want, men need to come to the table. It can't just be us women talking about this stuff. Men need to come to the table and get real, and let's get in the trenches and solve these problems. Well, you finally have some dudes at Wayfarer, because it's a spiritually and feminist oriented organization. You finally have some dudes, especially, Justin Baldoni, who epitomize that kind of truly sensitive guy, not fake sensitive, but a truly sensitive guy who takes these issues seriously and who wanted to come to the table, so to speak, and make a film with women about some of these issues, and they completely have used it against him. It's ironic, and it would be funny if it weren't so fucking tragic. But anyway, everybody, thanks
for having me, Colonel, and I appreciate. Yeah. I am also, DFJ earlier said it's glad to see you back. Same here. So
well, thank you.
Thank you back covering it with the blonde wig. You were like, get some wigs. So I will be showing my face again. I need to set up a dedicated space. And I've been practicing how to read while looking at the camera too. Because when you don't have the camera, you could just switch tabs and look all crazy.
Yeah.
Thanks for the encouragement to come out as well.
No problem.
Encourage me. I passed it on to DFJ. I'm DFJ's Colonel. No, I'm just kidding. I'm like, you should start your own channel. You should, I'm encouraging.
Yeah.
You encouraged me, so I appreciate you.
Absolutely, yeah. So everybody, I'm gonna post. I'm posting a link here. Somebody asked me. Texted me and asked me. I'm posting a link to that Evan Rachel Wood. That's the specific video where I got into their custody issues. Hold on, I'm getting the link. So I'll post it below in the comments. If you are curious, though, about the shenanigans in that bizarre custody case between Evan Rachel Wood and Jamie Bell, and how that fed into the fake FBI letter and Manson stuff and all that, I'm posting the link right here. Also, my PayPal link is below or will be in the description and the comments. And so if you liked this, drop a tip, and if you can afford it. If not, everybody make sure to like, subscribe, and share. And I will see you all later. Thank you, CJ. All right. Bye-bye. We're ending the stream right now.